Okay, you guys. So let's get started. So first of all, if you're always having problems with your animations being smooth and all of that, this tutorial is just going to help you out big time. So I'm just going to play this animation right here, and you notice there is some sort of flow between the scenes, and everything just seems to be flowing with each other. And sometimes, as a beginner animator, that can be something that's very, very difficult to achieve when you're learning how to animate. So, yeah, you can see there's a better way, tech-based solution. Let's copy it up. Then we have the phone come on, animate off, amazing shortlets, and so everything is flowing and it's so seamless. And you're wondering, how do I achieve that smoothness in my motion? Okay, so here's what I'm going to show you today. So, good old ball. I'm going to draw my ball out. I know you guys don't like the ball. You guys want to animate fancy stuff, but trust me, the ball is going to save your life. So, we're going to start by animating the ball from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 frames. You don't need to memorize that. I guess you're familiar with that by now. So yeah, 15 frames. Can I trust OBS? I hope it doesn't do its thing. But anyway, I trust OBS. So yeah. So we have this animating from left to right, okay? And then we're going to add easing to it, and we're going to go into our graph editor. Place this at the middle, whatever is the middle of yours, And then what we want is we want the highest point of this graph to be in the middle, because the highest point means this is the point where the ball is moving fastest the most. And if you don't understand the logic behind that, probably you've not watched my day 1 to day 5. So go back and watch day 1, or I think day 2, yeah. So let's watch the animation again. Okay, so we have that easing. If we were to switch on our motion blur, you would see that okay, you see that at this point is where the ball is blurry the most. This means that the eye cannot even pick the ball in this moment, right? So for us to achieve this kind of animations, what we are now going to do is, I'm going to do this in a very haphazard way, like crazy haphazard way. So you see how this is a crazy theory that actually works. I'm going to draw another ball, right? A bigger one. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to put it under so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to change the color. So I will name this bigger ball, big ball, just so that we do not miss. So when you guys are watching, you don't mistake the layers. So position for the bigger ball, come all the way over here, drag it over here as well. Maybe somewhere like this, something like this. Yeah, that's okay. We're going to add easy ease to it. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to look for the point of the highest speed here, and we are going to try to match the graph of the bigger ball as well to the point of the highest speed. Okay, so yeah, we have it matched, and let's see how that looks, right? Two of them are moving together. Now, here's what we are going to do. Come back here. Go to the point of highest speed. Place your stuff here, this scrubber over here, and cut that layer, Alt left bracket key. And then come over here and Alt right bracket key. So we want to match these two together. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. So I wanted it to go from the smaller ball to the big ball. So can you see? This is what we call matching using motion. In this scenario, we are using motion to create a continuity. So both layers are moving in the same direction, and they are, because of that, if we cut at the same point for both layers, they are moving at the same timing and at the same spacing. So if we cut, it's going to look like the cut is going to look seamless because the eyes can barely see. So let me add this motion blur. The eyes can barely see this layer at this point. Okay, can you see how that looks? Okay, so that's number one. Now we're going to do the same thing here, but let's try it in opposite direction. And to be honest, I've never tried this before, but I can tell you for a fact it is going to work. Okay, so what we are going to do is this. Let's pull this out. Let's draw, say, a rounded rectangle. Something like this. And let's put it under this one so we can see the one on top. So this is the end position, right? We're going to put a keyframe here. We're going to put a keyframe here. And then for the beginning, for this part, we're going to move this over here like this. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a plugin that copies the easing. So I'm going to copy this ease. It's called ease copy. You can find it, download it. And I'll paste the easing onto this layer. So now let's watch the animation. Okay. Okay, so let's try to cut. Obviously, this should be the point of highest speed if I'm not, that's correct. So this is the smaller ball and this is the bigger rounded rectangle. Let's see how this is going to look. In a way, right, although it's going in opposite directions, but you can see that motion, because the easing is the same, that motion actually still makes sense to the eyes, right? That motion actually still makes sense to the eyes. So now what we are going to do is we are going to move and just stick around. This is going to make a whole lot of sense. Just stick around. Okay, now we're going to move the beginning over here like this, and we are going to move the end over here, right? But one thing we are going to do now is we are going to add a rotation keyframe. Okay, so we are going to add a rotation to the green object. So when it comes over here, we want it to have done a 270-degree spin. All right, and I'm going to paste the easing like I said. Hold up. I'm going to paste the easing. Okay, so can you see? Now we have these two, and once again, if we cut at this point and at this point, you see that it's still seamless. It's still very, very much seamless because the motion is the same, right? So let's go back. 1. We're going to make this 20 frames so that you can see the easing more, because it's looking a little too fast right now. Good. That's much better. So you have time to see the easing. So let's cut it. Let's look for the point of highest speed once again. Let's look for the point of highest speed, and let's say, you know what, we're going to adjust this thing. And then we are going to copy this particular ease, right? And we are going to paste it on these two. We're going to paste it on this one. You see, they both adjusted themselves. So that plugin is a lifesaver. So, yeah. All right. Now, what we are going to do next is we're going to cut at the point of highest speed. Oh, sorry. We're going to cut once again at the point of highest speed, which is the middle here. We're going to cut here. Can you see how it's cutting? It's looking good, if you ask me, right? It's looking so good, if you ask me. Now, we have these two movements, okay? And now, but if you come back here, and I'm going to use a particular part of this animation to show you something. So beyond our, can you see? When we go from there is a better way, which is a scale down. There's a better way and a tech-based solution are scaled down within the same timing, but the cut is happening at the point of highest speed. Okay? But you see that when a text-based solution settles, it still keeps moving backwards slightly. And from here, it slides out. And then we cut to this guy. And it's all happening seamlessly. Can you see? So how do we achieve that with this? Now we've understood how cutting works, how matching things with speed works, right? But now, how do we hold something on screen without it coming to a total stop entirely? That's what I'm going to show you. So let's move 10 frames forward. What we are going to do is for this shape now, that is the final shape that is showing, we are going to move it forward just a bit. Not too far, just a bit. From here to here is enough spacing. And what we want to do is we are going to also turn the rotation like this. Now let's watch how this looks. Let's watch how this looks. Can you see? That doesn't look good, right? At all, that doesn't look good. Because I mean, it's coming to a total stop and then it's rotating. That's not what we want to happen, right? So what we are now going to do is we're going to come into this graph editor. And what is making this happen is that it's coming from zero movement to the highest point of movement, which is here up on this hill. And then it rolls back down to the bottom here, which is, this bottom here means a total stop. Now what we are going to do is we are going to move it up like now. You see, that doesn't look good once again. We select these 2 points, double click it, and select continuous lock outgoing to incoming. So we lock both sides together and then we move it up like this. What we want is we want a seamless curvy line so that the speed is smooth. Okay, so we bring it down, we bring it down, we bring it down. Now, while you are doing this, please ensure that you don't tamper with this part of the graph, right? No matter what you do, do not tamper with that part of the graph. Keep that part of the graph as it is already. So we want that seamless movement. We're now going to come into the rotation as well. Select this point and we are going to move it up like this. And we are going to move it up like this. Okay. Going to tweak it until we have that perfect line up. Okay. Okay. So, can you see how this animation comes to a stop, but it comes slowly. It doesn't just come to a total stop. Can you see? So now we have a much more smoother animation, but this is the thing, that's not all, right? That's not all. We can still do more, right? So what we are now going to do is, we are going to, let's just reveal all of them back. Let's reveal all of them back. Okay, so they are showing now all the way. So you can see what happens with this green one, how it moves a bit to the right because of these extra keyframes that we added. Just a very subtle movement, but it makes your motion look more easier on the eye when someone is looking at it, especially where you want to express continuity in the motion, right? But now let's come back to this part. You notice that this guy scaled down and then started moving to the left. If you notice, when the Escapade app also came on, it dragged a bit. Can you see to the left? It dragged a bit. Dragged, moved out for the phone to come in. So how do we achieve that kind of movement? Right? How do we achieve that? Where something does not come to a total stop, but also moves for the next thing that is coming on scene. So what we are going to do is this. Let's delete this layer out, right? And I'm selecting all my position keyframes and then I'm moving it. So let's say this bad boy animates on screen, okay? And then we want him to animate out as well, right? We want him to animate out. Watch this. This is very, very important. We want him to animate out as well. I'm teaching you guys the secret that all these animators be using to fool you guys. Okay, so 20 frames. Yes, let's do 20 frames. So I'm going to pull this out of the screen and I'm going to also rotate it a bit as well. So let's watch the animation now. You see, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. What we want is, from this point here, when it comes and is slowing down, then it picks up slowly, very slowly, like a car that is trying to move, like very slowly rolling and then picks up speed and goes out. How are we going to achieve that? Our graph editor, right? What we want to do is select these two. I'm selecting the position and rotation at the same time. You don't have to do it at the same time if it's confusing for you. And then we pull it like this. What does this mean? What this graph means is that there's going to be a slow movement and then speed up out, right? So let's watch it. Okay. Can you see? Okay. So we still have a stop happening, right? And we do not want that. So what are we going to do here? We are going to zoom in. I'm going to do it one by one. We will need to move this point off the ground. Zooming in with my zoom tool, Z. I can hold Alt and zoom out. Oh, sorry. These buttons here. Okay, and then I'm using my pan tool, which is spacebar, to pan it. So another thing you can do is select the point you want to zoom into and click this one, not this one, this one. Okay, and what I want to do is I move it up. So now it's not going to stop entirely. This is the rotation. So the rotation is not going to stop entirely. It's going to flow. So you can see it's going to be like, woo, and just pass. It's not going to hit the ground. And then I'm going to zoom into this as well. I'm going to lock it up and I'm going to move it as well. Okay. Now, can you see that it did not stop entirely? It did not stop entirely. It kept going, like the motion never stopped. Can you see? So now, if you notice, I don't know, this is just my perfectionist kicking in. The way that the rotation is happening, it feels like the rotation from this point, which is 270, to this point is too much. So what I'm going to do is from 270, we're going to say 270 to 290. So let's see how that looks now. Uh-oh. I think my... Oh. Oh. So you see my movement was looking a bit off. If you come here, you would see why. So I'm pulling this down because I want that smooth movement. So let's watch it again. Uh-oh. Now it's obvious that we need more rotation. So let's just say 305. And okay. 305, yeah. Yeah. Great. So can you see how that's looking? So now if we add the what's it called? You see how the motion never stops. Now, the next thing is, if as this is going out, we want something else to come in, and we still want to maintain that continuity, how do we do that? So let's just type a body of text, right? Let's just say smooth animation, right? Smooth animation. And let's say we want it to be in the middle, like this. We want it to be in the middle, right? So we are going to use this other layer to time the smooth animation layer. So let's bring the position keyframes in, right? This is where we want the smooth animation to stand. So it's going to be here. So I'm going to put a position keyframe there. Now, while this is happening, while this animation is starting, I want the smooth animation to be here. But let's just say, I want it to be here for now. Let's do it here so you really get the vibe. Now, what we want to do is, we want to match this graph to this graph. The graph here, which this was a slow out to a speed up, right? So what we want to do is, for this position graph, we're going to pull this all the way over here and drag this like this. So can you see? Okay. So you see that it matches, the motion matches at this point. But there's still a problem. Right? Now, what is the problem? We want our smooth animation to also come to a sort of a slowdown. We don't want it to come and stop abruptly like that. So how are we going to achieve that? Okay, let me show you. What we are going to do is we are going to switch the graph up to this format. This is going to be interesting because, to be honest with you, I've not even done this before, but I'm going to do it in this video. Okay, now, this graph right now, if we come into the graph editor, let's scale this, and we click this graph, you see that there are two different graphs. They look different. But here's the trick. This graph looks like half of this graph because if you cut this graph in the middle, it is a slow down to a maximum speed up. So what does that mean? What we want to do is we want to double up over here like this. Can you see? Can you see that? So now we are at our point of highest speed here, which if we click this other graph, you can see that this side matches. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys. This part matches, right? Okay. Oh my God, I'm out of electricity, but okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Can you see? Can you see how it comes to it still matches that animation, although they are not timed the same. What we are timing is the graph. We are not matching the animation. So it's not only about matching the, what's it called? It's not about matching the keyframes together like this, that they must stand together. No, that's not the trick. The trick is, do the graphs match? Can you see? So, okay, now that's one. Let's clear this this graph off, right? Now I'm going to use my scale keyframe and to show you that it's all about the graph matching. And then I'm going to remove my scale here to 0. And then I'm going to add an easy ease. Okay. So we have that. I want my anchor point to be at the middle. Let me just use my motion tools and put it at the middle. All right. So now, if we match this graph to the exact speed of the other graph, yeah? Match it like this. You're going to see that this is going to happen slowly. Okay? They are happening exactly together. Can you see? But like we also said, that is not what we want, right? What we want is a smooth slowdown at the end. So we are going to play that trick again of matching the graphs once again. Okay. We're going to play that trick of matching the graphs once again. All right. And then we are going to spread it out. Remember, this is 20 frames. So for this, our graph to be at the middle, we're going to add another 20. So that means that the middle now is going to be here, right? Now, I've not also done this, but I know that my theory is still going to hold. If I don't want it to delay, watch this. Can you see? If I don't want it to delay that much, right? After this point, I just want it to be 10 frames. I'm going to push the graph here. But now, let's look at how this animation is going to look. You guys are going to love this. This is a practical class. Well, to be fair, the animation still looks good, but if a professional animator looks at it, the speed doesn't match. But if a client is looking at it, they might not see the difference. But here's what we want to do. We're going to play a trick. Remember, this point is the point of highest speed. So we are going to come over to the scale keyframe and we're going to move this point over here. How do we do that? We're going to readjust our friend here like this. And let's watch it. I've not even done this before, but I know it works. Can you see? It still matches. Can you see? Now I can also decide to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can still push it forward, backwards again. And I still want to match the highest speed to this point. We'll still have a small ease at the end. Okay, let's watch it. Can you see? We still have a small ease. It's not a total stop. It's not like the heavy stop. So now, that being done, let's keep this at where it was before. Yeah, I liked this. So that being done, now let's continue this animation once again. How do we continue? We, from here, we are going to scale out. Okay. 20 frames, 1, 2. We're going to scale this smooth. Watch this. We're going to scale this smooth up endlessly. Just watch this. Let me just put it at 15,000. Yeah. And then we are going to, can you see? Now, what we want to do is we want this smooth to scale into a black background. Like we want to zoom it that much. So we are going to readjust the position like this. Okay. Okay, so the scale is not still giving us what we want. So we're going to further scale. I'm going to scale this smooth later until it becomes full on the screen. Perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to copy this keyframe. Where's my ease copy? I'm going to copy this easing from here, and I'm going to paste it here. Now, I'm trying to make you understand how motion works, right? So, watch this. Okay, now what I do not like is the fact that it comes to a total stop and then it just picks up speed all of a sudden. That's not how it's supposed to be, right? So if we come into our scale keyframe, we're going to observe something. Let's zoom in here. We are going to observe that this is going to be very, very difficult because this is the scale here is very large. That's why you see it's way higher than these ones. So what I'm going to do is, good. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to lock here. I'm going to lock here. And where it starts moving, I want us to have, let's just make this 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Because this is such a huge move for now. What we are going to do is I'm going to click the scale here. And I think I had already locked it, but if I haven't, okay, it's already locked. Now I'm going to move it off the ground like this so that it doesn't come to a total stop. And then I'm going to work on this one as well. Okay, so this is for the scale. Oh, no, I made a huge mistake there. Okay, so let me come back in here. This graph is now so hard for me because the scale is so large. Okay, what I simply want is I just want this off the ground just a bit, just a bit. Okay, so let's see. Let's preview it again. Okay, that's not what I want. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I'm supposed to have a hold keyframe. I'm supposed to have a continuity, like a little bit of a continuity before I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push 10 frames and I'm going to push this back. No, I'm going to push these 10 frames and then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to paste this. No. What am I doing? I've made a mistake. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go 10 frames forward from here and I'm going to copy these exact keyframes and paste them here. Right? So what is happening here is this. Okay, let's see this. What is happening here is, let's focus on these areas only for now. This is our position keyframe, right? Which, honestly, we do not even need that position keyframe. So let me just, okay, we used it. Yeah, I remember we used it. But this is not necessary. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so now the reason this is bouncing off is the scale in between here and here. The graph is messed up here. So we have to go in and check that out. If you zoom in, yeah, you can see that the graph is messed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this, no, let's hook this together. And what is our concern is what is happening from here to here. So first of all, what we are going to do is we're going to pull this graph backwards like this. We still have that happening. The next thing we want to do is we're going to pull this down like this. Hold up. Am I beneath the line? Oh, I am beneath the line. My bad. This is 0. So I'm not supposed to go beneath the line. And this is where the graph gets really, really crazy. Because this is a scale of 100. My bad. This is supposed to be a scale of 100 as well. No wonder it was bouncing off. So if I pull this down, I pull this down, I pull this to the left like this. Now this is slipping totally on the ground and I don't want that. So I pull it up again just a bit, just a bit. We're trying to get our graphs to not slip entirely on the ground. Okay, the reason it's slipping on the ground is because this is 100 and this is 100. So scale 100, scale 100. We want a slight movement, right? We don't want it to come to a total stop. So I've added the movement now. Let's come back here and let's move it up. I think I'm going to have to re-explain this part again so you guys can get it. All right, so let's watch the animation one more time. Can you see? So, okay, so like I said, you can see that it scales in, stops here, and then holds for a bit, and then it's ready to scale and give us a black background, right? Okay. All right. So now, what we are going to do here is we want an easing. We want an easing upwards like this. Let me see if this is going to, the way the graph is positioned is going to break that movement. No, we don't want to do that. The graph is messed up again. Okay, I control Z, so we are back to how it was before. The reason we are having this difficulty is because of the scaling that I have done from here is so high, all the way from 123 to 19,000. So it's so high on the graph that it's difficult for me to see these other sections I was working on. That's why we're having that difficulties. But anyways, I can barely even see. I can barely. I just need it to move up a bit. Just, oh my God, up a bit, just a bit, please. Let's watch that again. I can't even see it. I can't even see it properly. Maybe I should have used a null for it or something. But anyway. Okay. Okay. So now we have this 1, 2, 3. Let's make it 2 instead, because right now it's too slow. So we make it 20 frames. Can you see? Now, while this is happening, right? While this is happening, if we had another text layer that says white text, and the reason it's so big is because, oh my, I was writing on top of the other layer. So let's say white. Oh, let me lock this layer because the layer is so big right now. So let's say white text. And then we're going to make the color white. And we're going to scale it up. But I can't see it. So where is it? White text. Okay. So I'm going to put the anchor point at the middle. Now what I'm going to do is I want this text to be here on my scale property at this point, right? And at this point, I want it to be 0, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. Okay, I'm not going to copy. I'm just going to look for the highest point. That layer is locked, so let me select it. I'm going to look for the highest point here. And then I'm going to match the graph once again. So the secret is in the graph, right? I'm going to match the graph once again. And let's see how this is looking. Can you see how that animation is seamless? But at the same time, let's just say I want a little, a little delay, like business as usual. So what I want to do once again is I have to still come here. This is the highest point in the graph, which I have to match. once again. But in this case, this is going to be more skewed. This is going to be more skewed to the side. Okay, so we have that continuation. Can you see? So this is the thing. So that's the thing. I don't know if this was helpful in any way, but it should, right? It should. So you see how those animations are flowing. So now if you still wanted to like scale this to make it a white background, you can repeat the same steps and just take your time to, fine tune it. And honestly, you will absolutely love the results. I can confirm that you would absolutely love the results. It's an amazing technique. It's an amazing technique. Now, here's the thing. People wonder, if I want to do this between compositions, how do I do it? So let's assume this guy was a composition, which it is now. What I can do is I would still come back here. Let's scale this out. I would find the point of highest speed, which is here. I would click into this composition, which it will also land me at the same position, which is here, which checks out to still be correct. Do you understand? So that continuity, and then I come back to this other composition. And then what I now want to do is I want to cut out. I want to cut out. Can you see that it still flows even though I cut the beginning out? Why? Because the motion links together. Like there's that continuity in that motion. So the cut still makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Now I'm going to bring this layer back once again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an opacity keyframe. Let's add an opacity keyframe. And okay, let's go all the way here. And let's make it 100. Then let's make the beginning 0. And we're going to copy this easing from the scale keyframe. Where's my ease copy? Copy it. And I'm going to paste it here. Perfect. Can you see how it appears now? Okay? It appears. Now, another thing we can do, I'm still thinking of ways to make this I'm still thinking of ways to make this more complex. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push this. I'm going to push this opacity right now, like I'm overlapping everything, right? It's just going to go crazy, but you guys are going to understand. So I'm going to go back to the point of highest speed once again. And I'm going to find, this is the point of highest speed, right? And I'm going to match this opacity keyframe. I'm going to match this opacity keyframe to the point of highest speed as well. But they are all not going to line up at the same time. So we are spreading, we are doing a lot of tweaking. So let's watch how it looks. Okay. It doesn't still really, because at this point, it's already 90 something. And I don't want that. I want it to be really, really, really low. Something like this. And then you know what? Let's play with this even more. I'm going to push it as far as 10 seconds. And we're going to come back here and look for the point of highest speed, which is here. And then what we are going to do is, this is going to look very slow, right? But yeah. So now we have everything spaced out. Let's look at it. Let's see how it looks. Can you see how the opacity is coming on very slowly? So this is how you make your animations to move at the same speed. Whether you are doing this across compositions, right? Whether you are doing this across compositions, it doesn't matter. Look at the graph from the previous composition. Go to the other composition, look at the graph over there, and make sure that you are cutting at the point of the highest speed. And trust me, cut at the point of highest speed and add that moving, what do I call it? Let's add this moving, this continuous move over here like this. And you would see that you still have a very smooth animation happening without the hassle of you being inside the graph editor and the keyframes and trying to figure this out and that out and all of that. Can you see how that is still moving? So basically that's how it works. That's just how it works. So this is it. I really hope this helped. I really hope this helped. If you have any questions, you can ask in the WhatsApp group or you can ask in the comment section and I will try my best to answer your questions. See you guys in the next video. Bye.